Behold! The Raspberry Pi Zero. The smallest, not the smallest, I guess. One of the smallest computers in the world. Oh, that's right, you can't actually see it. It is very, very teeny. And very, very not powerful. But what can it be used for? If it's not that powerful, what good does it do? Well, for one, it's $5. Yes, literally $5. With 512 megabytes of onboard RAM, a micro SD card slot, a mini HDMI port, a mini USB power in port, and a mini USB port. This is the power in, and then this is just regular mini USB. And room for camera extensions, and whatever these are back here. You know, you can put stuff in there. Anyway, what is it good for? What does it do? Why would you want it? It's $5. And if you need Wi-Fi and even Bluetooth capability, you can pay just $5 extra for the Raspberry Pi W. Raspberry Pi Zero W, which costs $10. That's a pretty sweet deal if you ask me. But what can it be used for? Well, there are many things it can be used for. Not as much as the Raspberry Pi 4, or 3, or 2, or probably even 1. It's probably, now that I think about it, it's probably equally as powerful as the Raspberry Pi 1. But it's cheaper, so if you're needing the Raspberry Pi 1 or 2 something, I would probably just use the Zero. But if you need the 3 or 4, I would recommend getting the 3 or 4. Especially the 4, you can choose how much RAM you get. You can get 2, 4, or 8 gigabytes. This only has a lousy 512 megabytes. Yeah. Not much. You may be asking yourself, well, it has an ARM32 processor. Can it run Android? Not very well. I think it might be able to run Android 1.6? Donut? Maybe. But I wouldn't try it. Well, you could try it, but I don't think it's going to work. A lot of people have said it doesn't work, and even if you get that to work, Android 1.6 is very outdated. It will work as a desktop computer, especially if you get the Raspberry Pi Zero W with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities. The Raspberry Pi OS does work with it. Flash that using Raspberry Pi Imager, but so far I haven't tried putting anything else on there. The Raspberry Pi OS has been the best. But you gotta keep in mind that it only has one mini USB port, which you will need an adapter. As I was saying, you'll need adapters to get this to work with most projects. So let's take a look here. Now this is where the power goes in, but we have this USB here. Now most stuff won't really connect to that, so we have an adapter which you can get. Most of the sellers also sell the adapters, which will convert it into a regular USB 2.0 port. Alright, so but the problem is it's only one, so if you'd like to convert it to 2 or more, you'd have to get other adapters or splitters. But it could work, but it might end up costing you more than the Raspberry Pi 2 or 3 or whatever you need. Maybe even the 4. You'll probably need a Raspberry Pi HDMI adapter that you'll plug into the mini HDMI section right here. And now you've got regular HDMI and regular USB out with SD card space and a camera extension. So, while there are many uses for this, the best use that I would recommend is something many of you will like. A retro gaming system. Yep. While maybe this can't run N64 or GameCube games, or maybe even original Xbox games very well, it will be able to run Sega Genesis, Game Boy, Game Boy Advanced, Game Boy Color, Super Nintendo, Atari, Nintendo, but that's pretty much about it. But if you like playing those old retro games and you want to turn this into like your retro Super Nintendo, that's a good idea for a video. Retro Super Nintendo, do it yourself, maybe. But you could turn it into any console you want that it will run, which is Sega Genesis, Sega Master System, Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Atari, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. That's pretty much it. But it can run those games really well using an operating system such as Laka, which you can check out up here. I don't know if it's pronounced Laka or Laka, whatever. Or you could use RetroPie. You could also get a third-party USB, Super Nintendo, Sega, Atari, Game Boy, whatever controller, and use it with it. So that's pretty nice. That would be my recommendation. If you have one of these, the best thing to do with it would be to turn it into a retro gaming console. And I might do a video in the future on just how to do that. But that's all for today's video. I'd like to see you guys tomorrow, but bye-bye.